Hello there. I'm Gail Anderson. I'm here with my husband Kirby.
Hey everybody.
Good to have you today. This is Mentoring Moments for Moms. If you haven't joined us, we're glad you're here today. We like hearing your feedback as we go along. Hi Melissa, hope you're feeling well today. Good to see you. Hi Sarah. If you're watching this as a replay, I just want to say thank you. All the replays are on YouTube under Mentoring Moments for Moms. And you can watch all those replays and also get in touch with me. Even though you're not on here live and I'm not getting your comments, please go to my profile, grab my email, and let me know you're there and that you're getting something out of what we're doing. I also get great suggestions for things to talk about from all of you, so thank you for that. Love having you join us. And of course, my husband blogs. Actually, we both blogged for a couple of years, and now he's doing some video blogs. That's at kirbyanderson.com, and the link to that is also in the profile. So I really recommend that you look at some of that stuff as well. Today, our topic is how to avoid a child-centered home. And there's so much in today's world where we focus on the kids. And I do love focusing on the kids, but I do not believe that the entire family should revolve around any one person. And if you're in a family where you've got several kids, then you know what I'm talking about. You can't always have one person controlling everything. And we also feel that it's important for kids to feel like they are part of something that's bigger than themselves, part of a whole. So I'd love to hear some of your ideas on how you handle this with your kids. And in between that, we're gonna just share a few tips for how you can do that in your family. So Kirby, why don't you start?
Well, the main thing that we've always tried to create is a great family culture where it's all for one, one for all, and where we have lots of fun. And one of the ways that Gail and I kind of stumbled into this to be able to do that was to be able to make decisions as a family that allows each of the kids to have some input. And these are decisions that ultimately are going to be decided by us, but we still want them to have some input, to have a sense of ownership. And it was just a good chance for us just to flex a little bit. And we felt like that just worked good for everybody. And so we used to do things called family conferences, and we would use that for a lot of different things. But probably the best example I can give you is just something like planning a family vacation. It's real easy for us just to plan that whole thing out and just to, tell them what we're doing, when we're going, all of that. But we found it was just so much better if we would have this family conference and begin to include them in the planning. And obviously there's some budgeting and so on that goes into that has to be, we're going to have to kind of reel some things in. Obviously they're all going to want to go to Disneyland or something like that, and that might not be it.
Every year.
But to give them a chance to talk about what do we want to do this year? We want to have more of a resting vacation. Do we want to do a touring vacation? Are we going to travel, and camp across several states? Or are we going to do a theme park vacation? And then decide different things that we'd like to do and how we need to save our money. And the cool thing about this too is, like on a vacation, instead of just it being for a week or whatever, you can plan months in advance, and that kind of takes the whole experience beyond just the actual vacation itself. But in any case, the main thing is that it gives them a chance to give some input to this and have a little bit of ownership.
That's right. Thanks for tapping on the screen and giving us some hearts, showing us you like what we're talking about. I do want to ask here if everybody can hear me. I heard from somebody who was not able to get the sound. So hopefully I'll hear from some of you that you are hearing me okay. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and continue. Thank you, Sarah. Very good. We had a lot of fun being able to plan the vacations with the kids, especially when they were elementary and junior high age. We'd have a meeting, we'd have a big piece of paper up on the wall. We would talk about where in the U.S. we wanted to go. Kids would give ideas, we'd name the vacation, and that made it very, very memorable. A lot of fun for us. But one of the things you have to do after you have a meeting, or even in that meeting, you need to be able to explain those decisions that you make. And kids probably can't reason until they get to be about 6 or 7 when they get into elementary school. But since they can, then they need to be able to understand the cause and effect of things. It's also helping them to start to get other-centered, to where they can think about somebody else's needs besides themselves. Because what's great for them might not be great for Sister Susie. So they have to be able to think about what's best for everybody, and that comes by training them to think that way. There's always an ebb and flow in the family. Sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't. But we have to understand that that will happen, and we have to have understanding and know that next time it probably will go my way, and that's nice. For instance, you have a big plan to go have a family event somewhere, and a couple of the kids are sick, so you have to cancel. Well, that is hard. And of course, Dad could take part of the kids and go, and Mom stay home with the sick kids. That's not really what you want to do, is split up the family. You want to all be working together. So that's an opportunity for your children who aren't sick to look at the ones who are, have some compassion, and understand that it would be best if we postpone this event to another night.
Well, the third thing, and this may be a little bit of master of the obvious, but if you're going to try and keep your family from becoming child-centered, you're going to have a clear sense of authority. And so it's important that kids know that mom and dad's decisions have to be respected, and even if they don't agree. So you can't allow, especially early on, you're just not going to be able to allow complaining and arguing. That never is allowable. But as the kids get older, we did implement something that we have talked about on a number of fronts and written several blogs on, and that is called permission to speak freely. And if you just go to my blog and just in the search box, just type in the phrase permission to speak freely, you'll see that in a number of contexts. But
works great in a marriage too.
Yeah, in fact, I'm talking about that next week in the blog that comes out. So it's one of those. But again, it's just an opportunity to appeal, and yet with respect. And essentially, it just means that if you're going to come in, if a child doesn't agree with your decision and they have some new information to offer, perhaps they have a perspective that they're not sure that you have considered, great. They need to come in very respectfully, and you know, no arguing, no raised voices, all that kind of stuff, but to present their information, present their appeal, and be agreeable that they're going to, you know, accept the decision. But that allows for honest kind of conversation, and that's just real world type stuff. So,
how did we ever come up with that?
Oh,
Did you get it from somebody?
I'm sure we were. I'm sure we weren't smart enough to come up with that on our own, but it sure did work.
Oh, it was wonderful, especially in the teenage years.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we did just stumble into it. It's hard to know where a lot of this stuff comes from. All that we know is it became ours after a while,
Yes.
because it was just so valuable to us. But again, another way just to keep everybody focused here, that the world doesn't always spin around you.
Right. Another thing is to have the kids involved in the household chores. And that is something, if you've heard me talk about before, I am very big on. I will probably put a link in the notes on YouTube for the book More Hours in My Day by Emily Barnes. And she gave a specific list of what kids are able to do at what ages. And that kind of gave me, you know, the ammunition to say, hey, I could have my 2-year-old empty baskets. Okay, that's going to work. And when they all have a part of the household and have a responsibility, it helps them to feel that they are a valuable member. It helps them to see that there is no free ticket, no free ride. Everybody has to be together and doing things together for things to go smoothly. So this again is getting them to be other-centered and not just looking at their own self-gratification. Oh, I don't want to do baskets. I want to play on my Nintendo. No, you want them to think about the good things that the whole family contributes to the family.
The other thing that you mentioned earlier, that kids need to learn early on, that it's good to be a part of, that they're a part of something that's bigger than themselves. And in addition to that, they need to know that it's good for, that it works
Yes.
for their benefit, that can be a really fun thing.
Yes.
And so one of the things that you can do is just make your family experience really fun.
Amen.
Being a part of a family, you should be having lots of fun. You should be having these opportunities to laugh and just make great memories together. And because families that play together, they really do
Absolutely.
stay together. That's what's going to build your memories, just having these great things. And that's why we talk so much about things like weekly family nights, great family vacations, camping trips. You know, it doesn't make any difference. Even just projects around the house where you've got a remodeling or some bigger project and everybody's getting involved. Never let it go without making it something that is absolutely fun. And that's just another great way to keep everybody from, even in our family nights, we always rotated and allowed each member of the family on a rotating basis to choose what we were going to do that week. So the individual does get to choose once in a while.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean that everybody else is going to be thrilled by that one member's choice, but they just know their time's coming. Hey, let's get in.
Yep.
We're going to have fun. We're going to defer to the other. And so it is a good thing when we all pull together. And that's a great way to continue to reinforce that.
Excellent. I want to go back to the whole home remodeling. We remodeled several homes, and the very first one we did when our youngest, our twins, were 7, and our oldest, Josh, was probably 13. It was an amazing experience. My husband would tell me what needed done for the day. I'd make lists, and he'd go to work, and then I would arm everybody with what they needed and put them in their direction so they could get things done. And the accomplishment they felt, the skills that they learned, the things that they realized they enjoyed. Josh found out he really enjoyed and was a good painter. Jesse really got into the whole electrical thing. I mean, he loved that. And when we were done with that house, I mean, we were taking video all along. When we were done with that house, not only Mom and Dad felt good, but everybody felt good. And it was very cool too, because then we rewarded the kids. It was a big deal. Our boys wanted a pinball machine. And so when we sold that house just 9 weeks after we bought it and made profit on it, we went and bought them a used pinball machine.
Everybody wins.
Yes, everybody wins. You scratch our back, we scratch yours.
And we have fun.
Definitely. So if you just look at the family as a training ground in general for life, all these things make sense. I mean, as your kids grow up and are out on their own, they can't be self-centered. You can't be on the job and work with a team and only be thinking of yourself. You have to learn to start to be other-centered. And I may talk about that a little bit more in the marriage next week with Valentine's Day coming. But if you train your kids this way, if you're doing this in your family, then you're going to find when they go out on their own that they are valuable members of society and are able to work in different situations and are able to be a good member of a team. So those are our suggestions. I haven't heard anybody else say anything you wanted to add to that, but that's where we're coming from with our experience with our 5 kids and all those years of parenting. So anyway, thanks for joining me, honey.
Oh, my pleasure.
And thanks for being here today. If you do not have notifications turned on for my Periscope, if you turn it on, then you will be alerted to when I'm on. I don't always give a tweet preparing for when I'm going to be on like I did this morning, but love having you join us, love having your comments, and I hope you all have an awesome day. Do something fun with your family today. Thanks for joining us.